What's up, everybody? Matt Dude here at New Hampshire Man, going into the automotive realm today. What I'm going to try to do is encourage you to work on your own car. I do, and I think it's a good idea. The thing that one of the maintenance items that comes up a lot is brakes. It would be good for you to figure out how to do your own brakes. There's a bunch of indications when they're not working right. The thing I want to talk about today is if the brake pads or if the calipers seize. First indication is they're dragging. So when I'm driving, like if I'm at a stop sign and I take my foot off the brake, it doesn't start creeping forward. It's like dragging a little bit. So that's kind of the first indication that there's something going on one or more of your brakes, that they're dragging a little bit. The next indication is the smell, and that was the first thing that gave away the rear brake caliper for me. Is when I got home, I could smell that burning smell, and I knew something wasn't right. So what I did next was walk around each wheel and just put the back of my hand near the wheel. So something like this. Just like that. Just feel around. Like if you can feel the heat coming off of there, or more importantly, you do it for all four, and one of them is like, yeah, that's hot. That was the indication for me. Another one, which I can see just cruising down the road that people are having brake problems, is that the rim, there's a bunch of brake dust all over the rim. And this one needs to be done too. This doesn't look bad, but maybe you can see here a little bit. Like it kind of looks like dirt, but it doesn't look the same as all the others. And that's the indicator to me that there's something going on. If any of those indications are present, then it's time to dive in. And the thing that has got it, like the most common thing that I have seen is that the brake pads are actually stuck in their channels. And when I pop this one off, I'll show what you mean. And then if you just take the pads off and put some brake grease on there, that usually gets you through. What's happened to me is that even after putting that brake grease on the guides, that wheel is still hot, and that's the indicator that the caliper's just not, like it's pushing out, like it's braking, but when you release the brake, it doesn't come back. That's the issue. Or, yeah, that's it. And then it just keeps a little bit of pressure there, and that's what builds up that heat and the brake dust and the dragging and all that. The smell. Okay, so I'm going to pop this one off. I'll show you what I'm talking about. The idea here, though, is if you do your own work on your car, you can start to tell these, you recognize these things when they happen, and then you can resolve them relatively quickly and relatively cheaply. I'm not saying everything on your car is that way, but there are a lot of things that are. Okay, we're in. Let's check this out. So here's a good sign, right? So here's what I'm talking about. First off, these are moving pretty freely. Like if this spot right here, that little groove was stuck, then that would be a good reason for these to be heating up. It's moving freely in there, okay? So that's usually where I go. Right in here, take the discs out, lube them up real good, put them back in, and that's usually cool. When it's not, and these are moving good, the caliper's now working good. So this is the caliper. Just gonna put a new one in. Hey, just wrapping up here. I got my big helper though. Hi, Lily.
Hi.
Lily came out to give me some words of encouragement as we close up. A couple of things I wanted to point out is one, that I wear my gloves for this stuff. I'm pretty liberal with anti-seize. It all went together pretty easy. Doesn't need a whole lot of tools, but I do find myself going to the tool bench rather frequently whenever I'm doing any job. And I'd like to say that all you need is a socket set and like a breaker bar, but it ends up being more than that. So anyway, there's just the case to build your toolkit out. The other thing that I'll make sure I point out, you'll watch another YouTube video on how to do whatever vehicle you're doing, but I do have to bleed the brake system now. So maybe Lily will help me with that. Pumping the brakes. Also, my neighbor dropped off a system that allows me to bleed the brakes without a partner. So I'm just gonna throw a plug to my be a super connector in your community sort of thing, because a lot of times people can really help you out, and that's just another easy case of that. Okay, so again, the point here is like try to become comfortable doing work on your own cars. The big thing is that if you are familiar with the way that your vehicle works or the way anything works, you can be more in tune to it and understand when things start begin to fail. So again, if I had not fixed this now, what happens next is that caliper continues to get worse and worse, and it freezes, and it just leaves me stuck on the side of the road with a red hot rotor. So don't find yourself there. You know what I mean, Lily? Yeah, that would be no good.
No,
we'd have to.
Then we need to call a tow truck.
I was just gonna say that. That's right. We need to call the tow truck, and then what? Like, where the tow truck takes it to a shop, and then Bogart's getting in on this too. That was a big family video. What's up, Bogart? Say hi, bud. Bogart's shy. He's a little camera shy. But anyway, right. So then you just get down this whole thing that this is a justification for doing work on your car. Is now the tow truck takes it to a shop. So now you're out until the shop can get it in. And then you gotta get transport to and from the shop, and then you gotta pay the shop. And oh my God, or you just spend an hour on a rainy Sunday afternoon fixing your calipers. For this one was $70. Bear in mind too, there's a core recharge for the one that I bought, so I'll get $20 back when I take the old one back to Napa. And a little plug for Napa too. I buy all my parts at Napa. They have never let me down. Going way back, so there's for what it's worth, like buying cheap parts for your car. Like Napa's not expensive. You can get more expensive parts, but so far they always were. Anything else, Lily? Before we close this out?
No.
Okay. Want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye. Make sure you subscribe. And swing over to newhampshireman.com to check out the whole article, any other tips, and a lot of other good stuff going on. Okay, now bye. Alrighty, anytime I do any work on my car, I like to take it for a little ride, to do a little op test, make sure everything's cool before getting too far from home. So I pump the brakes a couple times, everything feels pretty good, and rolling up to a stop, like it stops the right way, and then it takes the foot off the brake, it rolls good. So everything feels real good actually, which I'm excited about. And I just want to close with this whole thing about the brakes is actually like a much bigger picture, and like the smaller but bigger picture is that by working on your car, you become familiar with the systems that make your car work, and then you can recognize when one of those systems starts to break down. So like if I had not addressed the case on my brakes, then it would have continued to get worse, and eventually it would have seized up tight, and I would have been left on the side of the road. Okay, so the bigger picture is that applies to everything across life. Your whole life is made up of these systems, whether it's the systems in place for your household, like making the house run, and your marriage, and your parenting, and your employment. Like these are all systems that make up your life, and you need to be in tune to how those systems operate, and then be aware and be mindful of when something within those systems starts to break down, so that you can address it early and often, rather than doing nothing and waiting for it to get worse, and then you have this faux surprise catastrophic failure, like, oh, I had no idea this was coming. No, who could have seen it? Well, like, you need to be in tune with the systems that make up your life in order to see these things happen. So there it is. Like, that's the real reason why I'm doing this post on my brakes. If you want to do your brakes, go into YouTube, search your car and your brakes, and there's probably someone with a great video from start to finish with all the tools and parts that you need, and I implore you to do that, because that will save you a lot of time. And that's the other thing, like, the knowledge is all out there. Another reason to work on your car. But really, like, the reason I'm putting this out is because it is representative of your whole life. So I hope you get that out of it. I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck, and keep in touch. Make sure you subscribe, comment below. Love you guys.